You know, Yu-Gi-Oh hasn't been that fun lately. Let's restart our journey. Now, this isn't going to be some kind of sealed only or like progression type series. It's going to be something completely different, just something on my own. Just kind of like a vlog type series that I want to do. And today, we're going to be heading back to a deck that I played probably like once on my channel. And even then, I never really fully understood how to play the deck. And that deck is Vampires. So, Vampires is, you know, hasn't really ever, I don't think it's ever been meta. Maybe like Duel Links. I think Duel Links has been meta like once or twice, something like that. But, you know, here in the TCG, it's never been great. It's never even been talked about that much. I think when I looked up like Vampire decks and like gameplay, there was not a bunch. There was maybe like 5 videos total, like modern, you know. But, you know, we're going to change that. Because this series, we're going to be playing some Vampires. And I have a feeling we're going to do all right here. So we're going to be on this journey, trying to win with Vampires. But this time, you guys will be with me. So let's get that work. Vampires also benefit from taking your opponent's monsters, whether, you know, from their grave or from the field. So we're going to be playing cards that can do either one of those things, I guess. Now, the whole aesthetic of Vampires has always vibed with me. You know, I've been liking Vampires. You know, if I had to choose to be an undead race, I was going to choose Vampires every single time. You know, Vampires versus werewolves, like, come on now, like Vampires every time. Like, who wants to be a werewolf? You know what I'm saying? And also, one of my favorite childhood memories is playing an old game called Castlevania, and more specifically Aria of Sorrow on the Game Boy. You know, I'm not that old. You know, I didn't play any of those like SNES games like Castlevania or whatever. I didn't play any of those old ones, but Aria of Sorrow is S tier on like every single tier list for Castlevania games, and just even on Game Boy games in general, it's up there for like one of the best. So definitely play that if you guys have not played it yet. Now, after sitting around and testing the deck a little bit, just, you know, play testing, test hands and all that, I got a general feel on what Vampires can actually do within their own archetype and the cards. And so I'm going to try and play into their strengths. You know, I'm thinking go second Vampires is probably stronger just because we can utilize cards like Mind Control, Change of Heart, even I guess Monster Reborn to some extent because you can use your opponent's grave, but you guys get what I'm saying. So we want the opponent to have something set up already, and I think in this meta right now, a good Change of Heart can probably break a board sometimes. So I'm thinking with these board breakers, just take monsters, you know, and use them to overlay into our Vampire Xyz monsters is probably the way to go for right now while we are just going bare bones Vampires. And of course, I gotta order some cards now because I don't quite have all the Vampire cards, because Dark Saviors is a set I didn't really open, and I want some higher rarity, you know, highest rarity of some of these cards, even though they're only supers. But the highest rarity, I don't want commons, I want a little bit of holographic flair to my Vampire cards. Alright guys, just got out of work, so we're gonna head on over to our game store and maybe pick up a tin or two, but make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you guys are liking the content right now. So let's head on over.
He said no, he said. I mean, is this last or the right?
Alright, I'm back and just picked up a tin for myself to open up just for the video today. And of course, I got some mail, so, you know, we're gonna get to cracking, see what we got, and maybe you guys will get a feel for what the deck is gonna look like. Now, there's only like a couple things I actually like wanted for the deck later on. I mean, just like Horus stuff and like some SPs, you know, just and maybe some generic cards like Pankratops and all that. But I mean, so far we have some pretty good pulls, but just not quite for this deck. I mean, Yama, obviously any Fiend deck, and then not Calamity, Cosmic Blazar for most of the synchro decks, I guess, with Crimson Dragon still around. But you know, Albion Sanctifier too is also great for branded and Exodia. Yo, maybe we bring in Exodia for this, but I don't know. We'll see. But it doesn't look like we're pulling anything too great for the deck today, at least. So for now, we'll be running with what we already got. All right, today is Locals Day, and we're going to see how good Vampires can compete in 2024 because, well, Vampires came out quite a bit ago, so we're going to see. It probably won't be able to hold up against the meta, but maybe if we place against some rogue matchups, then maybe we have a chance. I've just been doing test hands, and I've come to the conclusion that I got to cut some of the generic zombie support because there's not enough ways to mill my cards or just get cards in the graveyard in general. Most of the vampire cards only really work with like vampires. There's not like too much crossover synergy, so I think for now, until we get another engine to supplement those other zombie cards, I think we're going to stick to mostly vampire cards. And then we're just gonna put in more non-engines, so maybe we'll get carried by our Regekis, Mind Controls, Lightning Storms, maybe something like that, but we'll see. So going first, my end board is gonna look something like this, not really too crazy, which is why I think going second is probably the right way. So we'll see how many times we actually make this board after getting hand trapped though. All right, and with that out the way, let's head on over to Locals.
You want to put thrust in there even though he didn't hold it? Special something?
I'm chilling. Waiting for everybody to open bank control stuff. Please.
So this Locals was actually a Pegasus challenge Locals, where like random effects will be applied at any moment during the duels. And I don't think we've ever really done this at my Locals, but yeah, first time for everything. So we're just playing, and that doesn't really quite help because I'm also trying to learn a new deck. But you know, I do start off kind of making some like weird plays, like not killing like when I should like 100% have lethal on board, or just making awkward end boards. So that's like for the first few rounds, that happens. But then like later on, I kind of catch up. But like right now, I kind of like end on like a Vampire Sucker plus just a trap. But I should be able to do like much more than that. It should be at least like an IP with it or something like that, and like a draw off of a Vampire Sucker. But you know, at the very least, you know, my opponent was on Utopia or something like that and was bricking quite a bit. So I was just abusing the fact that Vampire Sucker can just like keep taking monsters from the graveyard, and I keep drawing a card and just stuff like that. We eventually, you know, were able to get the win, but it was definitely a lot harder than it should have been. So our second match is up against YuGiOh Fiendsmith, and luckily my opponent bricks, and I don't think he's quite playing some of the cards that make the Fiendsmith like opening tracks and all that into starter. Like you need the Necroquip Princess and all that. I don't think he was playing it, so he was able to pass with just Engraver, and we have a bunch of the Ghost Second cards that we put in, like Monster Reborn, Mind Control, Change of Heart, stuff like that. So having the Engraver on the field is kind of nice for us. But we got hand trapped twice. So like Imperm on Unizombie, Ash on our Desire, and then a Pegasus challenge that we had to reveal our hand. But I think I already knew he has an Engraver in hand. Yeah, that's like in the middle of the field. So going Sucker, Revive back, and then I'm not really sure if I had a wait for game. I'm pretty sure I did at some point, but I messed it up. I mean, going Zombie Vampire and probably just taking one of his one of the monsters I milled off of him or something like that, I think probably would have got me there. But then again, I'm not quite sure, just because the nature of some of the zombie cards don't quite work how I'd want them to work. But Either way, we were really close, but unfortunately, he ends up opening Nightmare Throne on the crackback, and we just lose off that because none of our interruption really is good against YuGiOh here. All right, for game 2, of course I gotta test my limits, gotta go second again, but he opens Throne and searches Grave Skirmer, and none of my hand jobs can beat that. If I had Joel, I think I would have been fine, but I didn't. I mean, just Ash on my Vampire Ghost. I have just a Raigeki left, and it gets negated, and that's it. Like I can't beat the board. It's too strong. YuGiOh was too broken, man. Someone ban these chars, man. All right, so we're 1-1 in third round. I went up against YuGiOh Fiendsmith again, but I wasn't able to record that one. Kind of like awkward tail placement. I probably shouldn't have moved, but it is whatever, right? I mean, it was a wash. The deck can't beat YuGiOh Fiendsmith, especially the way I built it right now. But we'll change that, all right, for the next episode, all right, guys. But you guys can enjoy some pack openings right here from our entry. But it's entry packs, right? Entry packs. And for our last round, we're up against Adagnister, and we don't quite have full combo, but I guess it's like good enough. It's Vampire Sucker with IP and the trap set, but it kind of gets done with the Dark Ruler for our IP at least. And then when they go Dark Infant, I counter trap it, negate and destroy. But unfortunately, they already had the field spell, so everything I did was in vain, and they end on the Arrival Adagnister, which is kind of hard to deal with, but that's what Access Code is in our deck now for. So, we at least have a chance. And they also have the Wind Pegasus Engrave and the Negate, but I was able to bait out the Negate with the Prod of Prosperity earlier. And then here, I make a grave mistake when I forget, or at least read Wind Pegasus wrong, and I try and pop a card on the field.
After resolution, Wind Pegasus effect.
You can do it for field?
Yeah.
I thought no.
Yes. You read it wrong!
Oh, it is on field too.
You scooping? GG.
Now for the second match, it's a really weird one, especially because I started with Reasoning. He calls level 1, and I hit a level 1. Well, I guess I also have Drill too, but yeah, not a great start. So maybe Reasoning shouldn't be in the deck, but I was just trying out stuff, and obviously now that I'm looking at it, maybe it's not that good. Sheeran 2, I think if I kept the other generic zombie support cards, Sheeran was like a little bit better. I just cut her in anyways, but yeah. So our familiar gets Mournered, and I can't really do anything else, to be honest. I kind of just, waited out, and the Pegasus thing for this duel was the activated exchange, so we knew each other's cards in the hand. He gave me a Dark Brewer, that's why I have one card that's like not the same color sleeve, and I knew he bricked. So at least we have that. We both don't really have any plays. He's able to search like the field spell and all that, but he didn't open one of like the monsters that actually start adding cards. But I do have a Mourner or Ghost Ogre for his Link 2, and I don't know. We end up eventually finishing it, but that we bricked so many times in past. So yeah, not a great representation. And then here I have the Mourner, actually, this time for the field spell, so he can't get to it, can't keep comboing. I'm not able to kill him, so we just end up going like Vampire Sucker stuff and just kind of sitting on that. And we eventually were able to break through because he's got one huge choke point, and we're able to get some interruption just for that. Our locals run was 2-2. I mean, like, I guess it could have been worse, and we lost just to YuGiOh Fiendsmith, so I'll take it. I'll take it for now. All right. So I know exactly what I want to do for my deck moving forward, and that's up the consistency, and that's by adding another engine, and then we should actually be able to win. I'm like 99% sure once we add some new cards that I don't have. There's some cards I don't have. All right, I gotta order them. You guys will see some of those cards in the next episode, and we'll for sure get some wins. All right. And I'll get some more or better gameplay, but for now, let me know what you guys think, and let me know down in the comments what kind of decks you guys might want to see in this series later on, because it's not going to be just vampires. All right, we're going to do a bunch of other stuff, and we're going to have fun with it. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next episode. Right, peace out.